than 175,000 fans fill every vantage point around the 2.5-mile oval. All eyes are on the pits as last-minute tune-ups are made before the challenge of courage, speed, and endurance. As time runs out, the Purdue University Band entertains in traditional ceremonies on the main straightaway. But behind the flags and excitement of race day, there are many other stories. There is the story of the men behind the driver in the car, the mechanics who have sweated out the tests and time trials. The race begins in the garages. Here is automotive know-how. Here is plain hard work applied with skill and experience. Here is precision, tuned with cleanliness and polish. Every part of every engine of every car has been checked and rechecked. The 500 is the toughest challenge in the automotive world. And when you get to the morning of race day, drivers must know that their cars are ready to meet this challenge. Let's talk to some of these drivers in the garages before the cars are rolled out. Here is Jim Bryan.
Jim Bryan, the 3A national champion, who 1 year ago today finished second in this 500-mile race. Jim, you then went on to become the 3A national champion with the greatest performance seen on dirt in post-war history, right?
Well, that's what some of the people said.
That's what the riders say, and the riders are never wrong. Jim, you used a terrific little automobile last year and finished in second. I understand it was a dirt track job, is that right?
Well, yes, Russ, it was a conventional dirt track machine built primarily for dirt track racing. And I thought it was capable enough to drive it last year at the Speedway, and I still think it's a very fine automobile. And it performed well against all the so-called roadsters and everything last year.
Well, the car itself gave you a little trouble in this race, didn't it?
Last year, yes. In the later stages of the race, in lap 130, the front spring broke. It's a conventional front springer with two torsion bars in the rear. And the front spring broke, and a little later all the shocks fell off of her. And the chassis itself actually broke up real bad. The engine, we had not one bit of engine trouble all through the race. The engine ran perfectly.
Well, Jim, is that the same engine then that you used here that you used on the dirt to win your championship?
Yes, that's the same engine we run second here in all our dirt races last year, which we won 5, and it's the same engine on our new chassis.
What kind of rings you use in it?
Well, perfect circle, naturally. I mean, we've had no ring failure at all, so, I mean, I think they're the best rings that can be actually put into an engine. We've had no motor trouble whatsoever to speak of all year long. And Clint Bronner, the mechanic, did a wonderful job the rest of the year, you know, keeping the car going, and I think we're real fortunate all through the year.
Well, good luck to you.
Well, thank you, Russ, and I think I'll go change and get ready now. Thank you very much.
Big new number 6 with Bob Swikert, the driver, and A.J. Watson, chief mechanic, moves out into the early morning light of Gasoline Alley.
Now listen, I want to get one thing straight. When I give you the signal that I'm coming in, you want me in on the next lap.
Yes,
right?
one lap.
Okay. How'd the engine look last night?
Oh, I lifted the block last night and looked at the rings, and they were perfect. Put the same rings right back in.
The same perfect circle rings?
Same perfect circle rings.
Okay, good deal. Now, one other thing. When we get the car jacked up, and you've made the change, Jack's going to give me the signal to take off and start pushing.
Right.
Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. And you're going to give me the seconds back for the guy behind with
right.
the arrow forward with the seconds for how far the guy is ahead of me, huh?
Right.
Okay. Any other signals?
No, that's about it. Just keep it simple.
All right. Good deal.
In the Bardall garage, driver Jimmy Davies talks things over with his chief mechanic.
Well, this is the morning, kid.
Well, you did a lot of work on the car. It ought to be all right, I guess.
Well, the motor's just been thoroughly going through again since qualifying. We qualified 5th fastest, you know. And everything was in beautiful shape when we tore it apart. I contributed most of that to the use of Bardo, which we had never been using before.
Yeah, well, the other day, you know, we was running about 5,000 RPMs, and I don't know what you did, but all of a sudden we started gaining about 200 at the bridge. Well, before, you know, I was only getting about 5,700 at the end. Now I'm getting pretty close to 6,000 down at the end of the straightaway.
Well, you know, that's about the fastest that roadster's ever run.
I know it. There's not many of them run much quicker, I know that.
Engine really sounds sweet running around there. It sounds real nice and free.
The engine feels real good. It doesn't vibrate, or it just runs free and nice as anything. It's run better, I think, this year than it's ever run before.
The American Automobile Association carefully selects qualified officials who play a very important role in the certification of products used in these race cars during qualifications and the race itself. It is a serious business, both to the manufacturer of such products and to the drivers and mechanics who want every edge possible to meet competition. Reputable manufacturers are anxious to have AAA officials certify the actual use of their products because it adds actual proof of results. The motoring public benefits from the testing of products here at the Speedway through safety, design, and performance improvement that are made available to them in these products on the open market. And now they are moving to the starting line. These cars and their drivers who are legends of skill and daring. The fans wonder at these sleek monsters and at the men who, in a moment, will hurl a ton of streamlined metal down a straightaway at 180 miles an hour and then crowd into the groove with 32 other thunderbolts. Each car, as it is wheeled out, carries the hopes and memories of months of work and planning. The mechanic's job is done, and the drivers take over. Flying Jack McGrath in number 3 is his own chief mechanic. When it doesn't go, he says, he stands on it a little harder. There's no one to blame but himself. But he remembers when it did go, like a bomb. It's 2 weeks before the race. McGrath ready to qualify. Vukovic has set the track ablaze with new 1-lap and 4-lap records. Now, with these records only 3 hours old, McGrath cranked up and got away on a warm-up lap. The green flag pointed at McGrath, screaming out of the north turn. He was on it, rocketing through the first turn faster than any man in Speedway history. One lap completed, a new record of 143.79 miles an hour. Watching his records crumble, Bill Vukovic. Coming up to the checkered flag and a new 4-lap record, 142.58 for the 10-mile run. Driver, mechanic, the fastest of them all. 500 miles to go. To the line, big number 1, a new machine for Jimmy Bryan, national big car champion. Bryan finished second here last year. He drove a car with broken shock absorbers, broken front springs, but unbroken determination. For 130 laps, he went wheel to wheel with Vukovic until Vukie grabbed the winning margin as Bryan was forced to pit for the 3rd time. Pounded black and blue by his disabled car, Jimmy collapsed after the race. Bryan takes his luck as it comes. This year, a new car can make the difference. Bill Vukovic, the man to beat now, came to the Speedway as midget champion to prove himself in the big cars. He came with the first Roadster, a new design, built especially for Indianapolis racing. He rolled to the line, an unknown driver in an unknown car. But steering failure sent Vukovic against the wall, 9 laps from victory. He became the man to watch. And watch they did, as Vukie raced 1,000 miles without relief to win twice in a row. Only 2 other Speedway immortals, Wilbur Shaw and Maury Rose, have accomplished the same feat. Vukovic, biggest money winner in Indianapolis history and holder of more records, trying now for the record no one has. 3 wins, back-to-back. Other veterans here today have helmets full of Indianapolis memories. Former national champion Tony Bettenhausen, knows what it means to take the wheel here on the bricks. Tony, in a qualifying run 3 years ago, he was on his way to break the record in number 99 and ran into real trouble. Another car, another year. Out of the north turn, into the home stretch, tail first. And another 500, this time with the temperature breaking records. Heat exhaustion forced him out of the race. Ready now for 200 more grueling laps. Number 39 moves up. Its pilot, rookie Johnny Boyd. His freshman year at the Speedway, but he piled up some memories in a hurry during practice runs.
The spin wasn't too bad, and it wasn't as long as some of them I've seen around here, except that the wall looked like the side of a 10-story building.
Pat Flaherty, remembering the heat of 1953, he was cutting a wide path through the blazing afternoon until...
No, I never did realize what happened up there. The only thing I can figure, the heat might have got me a little punchy. I wasn't tired, but when I woke up in the hospital, I asked them what happened. They said, you crashed. I said, well, fix the car. Let's get going again.
Here's number 33, a new streamliner with Jim Rathman, the jockey. Jim was driving relief for Sam Hanks last year.
Crankshaft locked up, and that automatically locks your rear wheels up, and then only the good Lord can take care of you from then on.
The drivers climb into the cockpits. Tense rookies like Shorty Templeman. Seasoned veterans like Johnny Parsons, 1950 winner. The driver with one leg, Cal Nyday, fourth fastest qualifier. Art Cross, Walt Faulkner, rookie Al Herman, Jimmy Davies, fifth fastest in the field, Bob Swikert, who makes his home in the shadow of the Speedway. The balloons drift away. A breathless moment. Then, gentlemen, start your engines. The waiting is over. Three of the mightiest men and machines of the racing world, the fastest field ever to compete at Indianapolis, move away behind the pace car. They must go once around in parade formation, the fury of their engines in check until they make a full circuit. Moving smoothly, Jerry Hoyt at the pole position, inside front row. Bettenhausen next to him, and McGrath on the outside. In the second row, all eyes on Vukovich in the center. Hanks next to him on the outside. Through the second turn, heading for the long back stretch. Now under the bridge, and the pace quickens as the pack moves up the backstretch. In the short straightaway between the third and the fourth turn. And here they come. The most beautiful sight in all racing. 12,000 horsepower wheeling through the fourth turn and heading into the main straightaway and the green flag. Beautiful start. McGrath cuts across across from the outside and dives into the turn first. Bettenhausen roars after him. Hoyt drops to third. Agabasian is fourth. Vukovic is fifth. Safely through Tornado Turn and into the second. Listen to these engines sing. McGrath streaking away. Vukovic is now fourth, coming out of the backstretch. Boogie closes in on Hoyt at the end of lap 1. And he passes Hoyt to take third place. Into lap 2, McGrath tries to patent his lead as Vukovic fights Bettenhausen for second place. The crowd comes to its feet watching Vukovic make his move. Up the backstretch, Vukovic passing, moving into second place. Bettenhausen now third. Vukovic racing to a showdown with McGrath. Loses ground as Vuki barrels away. The bell and howls following Vukovic. A thin wisp of smoke trails from McGrath's car as Vukovic keeps up the pressure. First turn of lap 3, Vukovic fights McGrath for the groove. He's passing. And Vukovic is in first place. McGrath second, Bettenhausen third, Hanks fourth. Vukovic keeps right on charging. McGrath is in some kind of trouble. After 25 miles, Vuki opens up a 2-second lead. Jimmy Reese pulls into the pits. A broken connecting rod makes him the first out of the race. Vukovic begins to lap the tail of the field. McGrath's having magneto trouble. Man, what a battle! Vuki's crew flash him his lap speed. He's traveled 50 miles in 22 minutes, and McGrath hangs on. Jack closes in. And trouble or no trouble, he's passing. Vukovic cuts dangerously low to pull even, but Flying Jack won't give way. Vuki, lead-footing it all the way, turns the fastest race lap of Speedway history, 141.35 miles per hour, and takes the lead again. After 100 miles, Vukovic moves smoothly as ever, showing his tailpipe to the field. McGrath 10.5 seconds behind, his car fouled with exhaust fumes. Jerry Hoyt heads for the pit. Oil pump failure, and he's out of the race. His uniform is spattered with oil, but none left in the engine. Tough luck for this 26-year-old pole position winner. He tells his sad story to Jimmy Reese, the first man out of the race. There's nothing left of Jerry's victory hopes but an oily spot on the apron. McGrath's engine is still giving him trouble. Bob Schweikert's crew signaled the end of 125 miles, a quarter of the race. Schweikert in fourth position leads Bryan by a split second. McGrath comes into the pits after 135 miles. Vukovic has moved away to a 17-second lead before McGrath pitted. Schweikert and Bryan flash by as McGrath's crew change wheels. McGrath is leaving his car. Jack is his own chief mechanic, the only driver mechanic in the race, and he's calling for a wrench. They say in the pits, if you raise the hood, you might as well give it up. But sometimes you keep trying. With McGrath in the pits, Bryan charges into second place. McGrath is through. Magneto failure sends him to the garage. Lap 56. Vukovic is flying. He's lapped some cars 5 times and is running through the field with magnificent skill. Roger Ward spins on the backstretch. The way clear, Boyd and Vukovic move right along, but Al Keller spins into them from the inside. Vuki is thrown over the rail, flipping helplessly. Directly opposite the bridge, the incident looked like this. Boyd's car, number 39, is thrown on its back and skids to a stop. Boyd is trapped underneath. Keller, in the car that started it all, waves frantically to warn other drivers. Ed Elysian, a close friend of Vukovic, stops his car and risks his life, crossing the track to go to Vuki's aid. Keller rushes to Boyd, trapped under his car, still in the path of the other drivers. Vuki's car, a blazing and battered wreck. Keller and Speedway guards roll Boyd's car upright. Miraculously, Boyd has only friction burns from skidding on his back with his car on top of him. A mile away in the pits, McGrath senses something. All cars are slowed down by the caution light. Tony Bettenhausen heads for the pits. Vuki's crew on the pit wall search anxiously for their man. Cal Naiday pits as Vuki's crew waits. Jim Bryan pits. He was running second behind Vukovic. Vukovic is now long overdue. Paul Russo takes over in Bettenhausen's car. These two men had a relief driver agreement to share the ride. White-faced Tony Bettenhausen passes the news of what he has seen on the backstretch. Then the announcement. Vukovic, 2-time winner of the 500, has suffered fatal injuries in the 4-car crash. Jimmy Bryan, now in first place, rolls onto the track under caution signal. The track is clear. After 16 caution laps, the green flag flies again. Bryan in the lead. Bob Swikert only 5 seconds behind. Bryan suddenly begins to lose power, and the field moves in on him. Bryan is passed in the first turns by a straggler, and Bryan's chief mechanic, Clint Bronner, asks, "What's wrong?" Bryan is trailing smoke. Turn, Jimmy Davis in car number 15 bears down and passes. Swikert right behind. Down the stretch. And now Swikert takes the lead. On the next lap, Swikert is alone. Where's Bryan? Jimmy slows down to pit. His exhaust ports covered with smoke. Looks like the national champion is through. Fuel pump trouble and a broken magneto drive gear. Bryan is definitely out. And is he mad? Swikert's crew watch as he pounds out the last laps. Cal Naiday moving through the 4th turn. His front axle snaps. He slams into the wall, then rolls across the track to the infield. Naiday is hurt, and his car, which was 5th at 425 miles, is washed out. On the green signal, they're moving again. But Don Freeland in number 12 heads for the pits. Freeland is Schweikert's last major threat, and he's out of the race, leaving only 14 of the 33 starters still racing. 50 miles to go, and Schweikert's crew isn't through worrying. With a lead of less than a minute and a half, they don't want another pit stop. But Schweikert is running low on fuel. Is he using his reserve tank yet? The Bardal crew check the time of their car, now running third. Schweikert's timer sweats it out. Bob has eased off the throttle to save fuel. Dinah Shore leads the trophy to victory lane. But Schweikert's worries aren't over. He's down to the last few gallons, and Jimmy Davies in the Bardal Special is ready to move if Schweikert fails. Where is he? Does he have fuel to make it? The crowd comes to its feet. Turn and 1 lap to go. There's the white flag. Tony Bettenhausen in second place gets the white flag. The last lap. The checkered flag for Bob Schweikert. The waiting, hoping, sweating is over for the mechanics. The fellow in the dark coat going wild is car owner John Zink. A big pat on the back goes to his chief mechanic. On to the winner's circle. The mechanical masterminds who prepared Schweikert's car, including his car owner, a man who paid $30,000 for a roadster just to have the privilege of changing a tire. Here he is. 500 miles in 3 hours, 53 minutes. Schweikert led for 85 laps, or a total of 212 and a half miles. And he wins $76,000 for his skill, a share of the record-breaking purse of $270,000. Schweikert gets a victory kiss from Dinah Shore and from his wife, Dolores, to end an unforgettable 500.